And here we go. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only noon Central Time in Denver. Thank you to Rhiannon Fisher, Eddie's wife, for making sure that we connected at the right time. Welcome to episode 29 of the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break. I'm your host, Neil LaFortune. I can't believe this has been 6 months or more of doing a weekly video cast here. We have had so many different drummers. We've run the gamut of drummers that range from all the way from California to Australia, to a few drummers in Nashville and the Toronto area and the west coast of Canada. And now we are in Denver, Colorado. The drummer from the band, you might have heard of them. They've done pretty well. Even I've heard of them, and I'm 53 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and they are called One Republic. And man, oh man, I'm listening to going, I think I know this band, and I'm like, yep, I've heard that song. We have kids that are in their teens and 20s, and I'm telling you, it's pretty amazing to follow their career just orally, listening to their music while I prepare for the show. And they have had 4 studio albums, 31 singles, 10 promo singles, 5 EPs, 25 videos, and they are a blend of pop, rock, folk, funk, R&B with some classical smattered in there, and the band has absolutely ridiculously killer hooks. So I'm going to see if Eddie Fisher is watching right now. I'm going to send him a request here to join me live, and I cannot wait to talk about his journey and where things started for him and how he became the drummer in this humongous band, and it looks absolutely incredible. So Eddie, if you are out there, my friend, I am wanting to have a little chat with you, and I know that we have a whole lot of people that are excited to be chatting with you as well and finding out more about what is going on with One Republic, when there's new music, what's been going on, and I'm really curious to find out what you've been doing since March and what the future holds, and it's going to be awesome. And I see that there's some people waiting here. I'm going to just send a quick message, and yes, and here we go. If anybody has questions, drum related, preferably, we are the Gretsch Afternoon Drum Break here, so any drum related questions would be amazing. And I am waiting for my guest. And how did you like the little promo video that was put up? Hey Frederick, how are you? Nice to see you. Lucas von Gretsch, my friend. How are you, buddy? I want to promote Lucas's show next Wednesday, November 11, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called Gretsch Heritage. It is absolutely incredible. It is amazing. Talks about the history of the Gretsch company, and we are on part 3 coming up this week. And I am waiting for Eddie to click to watch so I can see. I don't see that he is watching. We did a little connection a bit ago. Looks like I'm going to need some coffee. It's been moved to the 25th. So the Gretsch Heritage moved to that's a drag, because I was anxious and excited to learn more about the Gretsch family, and I absolutely recommend that you check them out on either on Facebook or on YouTube. And there we go. There he is, Eddie Fisher. And there we go. It's the first time we've been face to face. There he is.
How you doing, Neil?
How are you, Eddie?
Oh, you
How's it going, my friend?
be the last of my problems, or the least of my problems. But turns out, you know, you need it. You
Oh,
don't.
that's all right. I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you spending the time, taking some time and coming to chat. And I know even with the pandemic thing lately, you're busy working on some stuff, but we'll get there. But I wanted to know, like, what happened with your year this year when things were shut down in March? What did you guys have planned?
Oh man, I mean, we had a summer tour, U.S. summer tour, um, planned like starting in
Oh,
like all the way through September, end of September, and then going directly into a huge European tour from like early October
wow.
to like then this spring coming up and doing another U.S. and then Asia and South America. We were dropping two albums, singles, and then everything just got put on hold. I mean,
Right. It's I know there's nothing you can do except try and guess when you're going to be able to do some things. I think we're going to kind of eke our way back into working again. So, how many dates do you figure were postponed?
oh, I mean, I would say close to at least maybe 75 to 100.
It's a lot of shows, man. It really is, you know. And when you're ready to play music for people that want to see you, especially you guys, man, that must be just like, well, no, you get to stay home for 6 months or whatnot. I know it's tough. Now let's go back to the beginning here. Where did you grow up?
Uh, Hillsboro, Oregon, which is a little bit like 20 minutes west of Portland. Um, Grew up there for a small portion of my life, and then I moved to California when I was like 8 or 9, maybe 9, 10. Um, Bounced back and forth through. I came from a broken home and went to another, and then I decided to stay permanently in California when I was like 12 or 11, and yeah, lived in California up until 12 years ago. You know,
Wow.
recording our second album, and I moved out here and just loved it here and stayed out here.
It's beautiful there for sure. I love California, been there and played there a few times, and man, oh man, I envy people that grew up in California, man. That would have been awesome. So I read online that you went to a U2 concert. I think it was when you were around 12, and then you saw the band Larry Mullen Jr. and you're like, that's what I want to do. Was that what happened?
Literally, yeah, I had been invited from one of my dad's girlfriend's daughters. Uh, she had an extra ticket, and I'm like, I don't even know who this band is. I obviously I heard Sunday Bloody Sunday, but I didn't realize who it was. I didn't put two together. I saw him on MTV a couple times, and I saw the show, and this it was just the ambiance, everything about it. I'm like, that is what I want to do for a living. Like,
Wow.
wow, I couldn't, like, there was nobody. It's crowded, but I felt like there was nobody around me, and the music was just consuming me at such a young age that's I knew I wanted to do something in that realm, in that world. And it took me years to even get to the understanding of what I wanted to do and how I wanted. My dad was a guitar player, and he played banjo and on string guitars. My mom, she was a bebop dancer, competitive bebop, and and I was always grew up around music, different genres like bebop and doo wop and jazz and country. And obviously, as you get older, you discover rock music too. I had step siblings who, my first tape was Ted Nugent, and my I was a rock drummer out of love for rock music, but I had an appreciation for all kinds of music. So I,
Yeah. And it served you well having to cover some different ground, Yeah. Now, when did you actually play? There were drums in the house. You have an older brother, is it, that had drums? How did that come about?
Yeah, it's um, my brother, my dad's first marriage. He had two kids from his first marriage. I'm a product of the second, and kind of all the time. Yeah, he's about 5 years older than me, and he had a drum set, and he would always play drums in front of me, and then he taught me how to play. But of course, I learned on a right-handed kit. I played right-handed or open-handed on, not knowing that I was playing wrong the whole time. Which wrong, right? It's how you take it, I guess. I mean, there's some things, learning drums and learning how to do certain fills. I'm like, wait, I can't do that. I play this way. I can't do that drum fill. I start with my left hand instead of my right, and it took me years to myself how to do both. The right-handed and then the left-handed. So yeah,
Yeah. That you know what? There's a lot to be said about playing open-handed. I didn't know any better when I started playing, and I played open because the hi-hat was closer. And I thought, why would I want to cross over, really? And I even had my ride cymbal over there. And when I went to music school, they were like, no, you play right, but I'm right-handed. Go figure. But there's a lot of advantage to doing that, and I teach a fair amount of students. Some of them are open, and so now you play both ways. Are you ambidextrous?
I taught myself how to play both ways. I wouldn't classify myself as ambidextrous. I do I'll golf or bat, or I throw both hands. Depends, like basically, but I golf and bat and swing stuff right-handed. So
That is weird. Are you right-footed or left-footed?
strongly left-footed, but my right dominant kick.
Wow.
When I was
That's
a kid, my soccer coach would always make me practice with my right because my left was so strong. I just had the power kick, and he's like, "I want you to have the power kick with the other one." And then, yeah, it was always people were always teaching me to play the other leg, which
wow. We have a little funny, little bit of connection here. You're a little, it's kind of spotty. I'm not sure if you're super connected onto your Wi-Fi there because you're doing the robot sometimes.
uh, yeah, it looks like we have some, but who knows? I mean, the Wi-Fi is so spotty here sometimes. Some days it's great, and some days it's not. Of course,
Right. We don't have kids home right now, so my Wi-Fi is good. Somebody said your Wi-Fi is not as good as you're playing. That's very funny here. Early on, what's that? Early on, what were you playing to? Did you have drum heroes early on? Did you have drum
uh,
heroes? What were you doing, and how did you learn early on? Did you have any lessons?
I was self-taught predominantly most. I would say the first 4 or 5 years. Then one of my buddies, he was a jazz teacher, and he wanted it. I asked him if he would give me lessons, just to help me learn new things, because you play to your headphones for so long, and then you hear songs, you're like, I don't even know how to play that. How is that? Taught me a lot of breaking down songs. Like the Pretty Shuffle. Break that down. Um, all these things. So I got lessons from him for a good 8 to 10 months, and then I met a guy named Taylor. He was working at the music house down in El Toro, California, Mission Viejo, and I'd go there and buy some cymbals and sticks from them. Um, and oh man, he was so enthusiastic. Oh man, you got to try this. Like, if you ever need lessons, let me know. I'm like, okay, cool, absolutely. I watched him play on this kit that it was like a no-name kit. It was like a drum kit on consignment, like from Walmart or Sears, and he beat the crap out of it and made it sound amazing. I'm like, I need to take lessons from you. So we gave me a few last months, and just band that not always about, drum soloing through songs.
That's
Less is more. Keep it like, the Beatles had it right. Less, keep it simple. And that was kind of where I grew up.
That's good. There's either drummers in the beginning that are attracted to drums as a solo instrument to a degree, and then drummers that are into music and bands and how they blend together. So, and it's good that you learned that early on, you know, because it served you well, which is awesome. Um, what came natural to you early on, and what was the most difficult thing you needed to learn when you started learning early? I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, hey,
Sorry.
there you go. Not much you can do, my friend.
I know. The mercy of technology, right? Uh, so yeah,
Yes, isn't it?
music and how it was approached made sense to me.
Right.
I could tell you what Phil was going here and anything from like Queen back to the Beatles. I couldn't tell you what I ate, but I can remember that stuff. I think the hardest thing was always the rudiments. Like I have like severe ADD. And some of my fans would definitely laugh at that because they know that about me. So it was always hard for me to focus on my specific rudiment and
Right.
play to that and get. So that was always the struggle for a drummer.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Um, when was your first exposure to Gretsch drums? When did they come into your life? Did you see them when you were younger, or is it something that happened as you got older?
I was always a fan. Gretsch drums. I was a big, huge fan of like Ludwig, Gretsch, like the Leedies and the Camcos, and I loved and respected like DW. Little too much for my blood. Like the Slingerlands. I had a Slinger. I tried out for One Republic on a Slingerland, a '78 Slingerland. It was a black pearl,
Wow.
big old 26-inch bass drum. It was a huge Bonzo kit. But I think Gretsch is always my like the kit. I'm like, oh, I want a Gretsch kit. And then, funny enough, we were playing the last week that TRL was airing, and I had a backline kit, and it was a Gretsch New Classic.
Yeah.
Sat behind that thing. I literally told my manager, I said, I want an endorsement with Gretsch. Please help me get that. And then we called. She was the Gretsch endorsee, Kim Graham. She's a sweet
Right.
lady.
Yep.
Like, sure, please come join us. Welcome to the family, and pick out your kit. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we were opening up for Avril Lavigne on one of her tours
Wow.
years ago. Backstage, there was a whole bunch of boxes, and I walked back, and the guys are like, hey, this is your kit. And I'm like, oh, and this is back when I was setting up and breaking down my own stuff. We had a backline guy, but it was poor guy
Right.
needed help. I sat there and put it all together, really early, and played it. And oh man, I fell in love with Gretsch, and they're great. I love them.
The new classics are amazing. What was the color that you had?
I had the champagne glass.
Ah, it's a beautiful. It looks so great under the lights.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, that somebody just commented skater boy. That's great. That would
That
have
too.
been a that would have been a fun kind of thing. Did you interact with her band at all, or Avril?
Yeah, Avril was sweet. She said hi to us a few times. Rodney was her drummer. He was a cool dude. Yeah, he was. They were super hospitable. You're always intimidated when you're the opening act. You don't know what to expect and where to go and what to say. And they were really sweet to us. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. What does your rig look like now? Your drum setup now with One Republic? It must be. And has it changed a lot over the years?
yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. It used to be just a standard three-piece kit. Now it's more like I have a rack tom. I have 14-inch floor, 16, and then on my left side I have an 18. Um, and then I have triggers throughout. So live we want to kind of mold the stems of the album sounds with the live sounds and make it sound really good and clear, not just big old roomy drums, in the stadium. So
Right, because your music definitely has some signature things that acoustic drums just are not going to cut it on their own. You need that blend. Exactly. That's very smart. Now you're running a click, I assume?
yeah, I live off the click. My world is click on like
Yeah,
11. If I get off, everybody's like, yeah.
that's hilarious. What else do you have in your ears?
Uh, I don't have a lot of me. I have a little bit of my drum kit. I have Brent, little bit of Ryan, just a mixture of everybody on like a quiet setting. For the most part, it's it, it's just exactly what I need. But I have the click up here. Everything is just right here. But the click is I need to keep everything. I have the tracks, the triggers, kind of up there too, in between. Um,
That's really
click is definitely my music god when I'm playing live.
yeah.
If they
Are there any oral cues? Sometimes in one of the shows I play in, there's like you've got the chord, or yeah, and that helps, right?
we have it's an older one, but it's on Good Life. It's got the opening, and then it goes drums 2, 3, 4, doom doom ga ga doom ga like that. Um, but
Ooh,
yeah, we have those, and then we're like bridge and 3, 2, 1. We have those, and then
amazing.
and so you play these songs like 250 times a year, and then you change it like a different version, and you're like, oh wait, what version are we playing?
I
You
know.
really do. I mean, we forget parts. We forget lyrics. We forget the littlest thing.
That's funny. Sometimes I play with some pop artists from the Philippines that come to Toronto, and I see every one of them has the teleprompter, and it's got all their lyrics in their Filipino language. And I'm going, that doesn't really help me. But I've learned to speak a little bit of Filipino. Somebody who's watching now wanted to know what the click is, and it's basically a metronome. It keeps time for everybody, the time reference that Eddie is playing to for the song. So that's really cool. I love it. And what series of Gretsch are you playing with One Republic?
Right now, I'm doing the broadcasters. I fell in love with. I have one right in the back here. That's
Oh yeah,
got me this drum set a few years ago, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, oh, it's got the vintage hardware on it, and I love it.
that is amazing. What sizes are you playing with the band?
I have a 22 by 14 kick. I have a 9 by 12 rack, and then 14, 16, 16, and then an 18, 16, and then 6 by 5, 14 snare. I like the big fat ones.
Yeah.
Here at my house, I'm playing with a 7 by 14. So
Wow. Wood drums, wood snare drums?
it's a round edge. I got it from Chicago Drum Exchange, which is
Oh,
yep. Don't ever go there.
no, no, no. I can imagine. Yeah, I avoid looking there online. It's amazing.
My wife was like pretty much banned me from going there or even going onto their website.
Oh, that is amazing. Let's go back in time before you were 15 years ago, before you were in One Republic, and you moved to LA. What was happening in your life musically then?
I was living in Orange County and I was just doing the LA hustle struggle. I was playing in bands. We were playing in the LA venues, Whiskey a Go Go, Coconut Teaser, which is no longer there, the Roxy, Viper Room. Did the whole circle of the LA club scene. Did a little bit of the Orange County club scene. Um, One of my buddies had an endorsement deal with Interscope as, just to see what if we're good. All right. And we all lived in a one room apartment in the Oakwoods in LA. And then, I quit my job. I was working at Home Depot, quit my job, lived there with three dudes up in a one bedroom. One guy slept on the floor, one guy slept on the couch, one guy slept in the bed. And we would wake up every morning and rehearse and write songs. And we wrote 40. We showcased it. It was a terrible showcase. They decided to drop, and I was homeless in 6 days and went back to work for Home Depot. Slowly got my feet back on the ground. But the bass player in that band was the original bass player in, at the time, Republic. And their drummer had left, and he asked if I'm like, yeah, of course. So he gave me the demo, and I actually genuinely liked the music. I was like, oh crap, you want me to? I'm like, okay. So I learned every one of them. It was like 32 songs, and like 28 to 32 songs. So I go to the audition, and there's like some big, there's some heavy hitters that I've around the LA scene that I'm familiar with. Mike Miley from Rival Sons audition.
Yeah.
That guy. And yeah, I came in that room just super prepared and super confident, and I was singing to this, singing the songs as while playing, and I kind of felt good, but I'm like, oh, Miley's gonna just shred me. That's cool. So the drive home to Orange County, I got the call from Ryan like 30 minutes later. He's like, hey, you want the gig? Yeah.
That is
Los LA Studios, and I would go for hours and work, and then rehearse, go home for a couple hours and work. Yeah,
it's what you have to do.
definitely cut our. It wasn't like a overnight band success, thing. They were signed to Columbia, so I was like, woohoo, right on! I'm with another band signed to a major label. This is great. I'm going to be able to like skate through life. That's not the case at all. We got to Coachella, and we were on the biggest high of our lives playing Coachella, and on the way home we got dropped by Columbia. So because they were shelf our album at the time, the Dreaming Out Loud album, they were going to shelve it, and they turns out they dropped us and like Katy Perry and 50 Cent and Jonas Brothers. Wanted to
Wow.
put all their they wanted the John Mayer vibe, so they let it all go.
Wow. Holy, I wonder if some heads were rolling after at Columbia once they realized that's crazy. That's a lot of people to have dropped and a lot of regrets, I'll bet, let me tell you. So you started playing, it sounds like you were playing some pretty awesome gigs sort of early on. Was that really the case?
I mean, we placed out in the Northern California area outdoors, opened up for a grindcore band. There were matches, but we just had a great team behind us. We had a great management team. We had a great label. We signed with Timbaland. Obviously, Timbaland wanted to remix our album and sign us at the same time. And we were really hesitant on letting the remix even come out because we wanted SVR. He's like, oh yeah, it's not going to come out. And then sure enough, the radio stations and you know, sorry, we're playing it. It's a most requested and it's banging. So and from then we just skyrocketed. I mean,
And
there was one year I think I was home for 2 weeks total. 1 year because we were just doing some absurd flights. We did a Dublin to Australia flight once, and I was like, what?
that's
yeah, it's a messy.
it's now. I assume that you're trying to stay healthy. Being in your 40s now, that you need to I know you need to make sure that you are exercising when you can, eating well, not really partaking a whole lot in extracurriculars, and trying to sleep. So is that a conscious thing that you guys all do?
Uh, for the most part, I mean, we sleep whenever we can, and we've slept in the most awkward places. You just sleep when you can, and you get exercise. We started working out just for sanity reasons, and then I had to come home from tours and have to get like dry needling because my arms were just so wrecked. And as I get older in age, I definitely have to on my health, obviously, and making smarter decisions for my body and my brain. And yeah, it makes it a lot easier if you warm up. I 20 minutes up. Now I'm more like a 30, 45-minute warm-up guy.
Good.
I need to, yeah. And there's some times where like there's a meet and greet and then we walk on stage. I'm like, wait a minute, I need to warm up. They're like, well, you should have done it before the meet and greet. And I'm like, we were in a van for an hour. What are you talking about? There's nothing I could do, So obviously, you know how that feels when you don't get to warm up.
Horrible. Yeah, you're just not in. You're mentally there, and physically, your hands are like, nope.
One I ever did was we played some corporate shows, and of course I didn't practice. I didn't warm up. We just kind of showed up and played, and it was really humid. And I like thumbs, all the fulcrum, the calluses were ripped. I'm just, what is going on? Worst mistake of my life. So especially wood sticks and humidity is, you don't have, if you let your calluses go, it's terrible.
Yeah. Wow. That you have a drum kit backstage that you're able to warm up on?
Yeah, we started implementing like an electronic kit because it's easy because we can actually we can record drums like from the album. We've done that backstage. We've recorded hi-hats and snares drum stems from my live set. So yeah, and we use that. We use it as a jam room, warm-up room. It's a beautiful little Roland TD30 kit.
Yep. Yep.
The next show.
That's nice. It's better than a practice pad or the arm of the couch in the green room or the guitar player, something like that. That's good. That's a nice luxury to have. But you need to.
Yeah. I'll do the practice pad when we're doing corporates. I'll have a pair of sticks on a practice pad and next to the snacks and the coffee and the wine. And yeah, I'm like, oh, that's what I got. And a lot of times I ask for the jelly ones because the Remo ones, the Whitehead, they're so loud and obnoxious. And the guys are like, can you go somewhere?
I know, right? I do the JoJo Mayer warm up too. That one there, the clapping, so you really warm up the wrists and get that. Man, it definitely does help. Anything helps. Yeah. So we have some questions here. Someone's asking, what is your favorite One Republic song to play? Do you have one? Is that possible?
I mean, as a drummer, when you want to hear big rock drums, I mean, Stay is always a fun play. Secrets. Let's Hurt Tonight's a fun one. County Stars is always a great one. I mean, Yeah, those ones are probably like my main one. I mean, it just depends on how you feel in that you at the time in front of the fans, and you feel the energy. Like I've had Stop and Stare move me in ways that, like, you get emotional and stuff like that. Good Life's fun to play. Yeah, all the right moves is a secret studios, like when you record four different drum parts and you put it into one drum track. Um, some
Wow.
drummers, we can't play some of those parts. So you put, like, for instance, if like Kids is fun, but there's a drum fill in there that's literally being played while the bass, the 16ths on the hat and the snare are being played. So I'm like, put that drum fill on the track and just do it. But it works. It,
That's really cool. Do you do any of the software running, or is that a tech thing that happens for you?
um, I was doing it for a while, and then we decided we needed a tech guy to do it. We were touring with Rob Thomas, and we saw his tech guy work. Wow, that's legit. I mean, it's yeah, it was a bigger horse than I wanted to be responsible for. I didn't want to be responsible of, like, the show, you know, halt if something happened, if the computer crashed. So we hired a guy. We have like multiple guys to do that now.
That's way easier. I could not imagine having to be responsible for the Pro Tools rig. My friend Jim Riley from Rascal Flatts, he was responsible for all of that stuff, and he would have a couple of laptops running that, and he would sing and play drums. And he said and he was the band leader. So he said, this is why I earn my money, to be responsible. And I guess he liked it. It was probably not necessarily as large a production as what you guys would have, although it would have been, it's pretty intimidating looking at that. We had a question here from Sabine 1993. What's the hardest about playing drums?
Hardest hardest thing about being with my band, I have perfectionists in my band. Brent is uh, he's really tough on time. Like if you fall back, like if you're behind, he'll call you out on it. He's like, time, time, time. So
Really?
I have that white boy gene, where you're ahead of the click constantly. So I've had to teach myself to just stay in the pocket and, you know,
Right. Was that something you practiced to maybe play back? Yeah.
yeah. The key for me too is playing to a slower click where
Ah,
it's not so prominent. If I have a problem because of time, you double, just tap, 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 instead of the tap, tap,
yeah.
tap.
You want to subdivide that click, right? What do you do for practice at home, or do you just play, or do you even play at home?
You know, Funny. I do play a lot at home. I play a good hour or so a day. But I write and record downstairs in my studio. I get bored playing sometimes. I want to start like a side project maybe. Just like, here, play this, and then we do this COVID thing. I don't know, hybrid. Who knows? But yeah, for the most part, I play a lot. I play on my electronic kit. I'll play on my Gretsch kit. I have a few other vintage kits that I'll just take take down and play. It's uh it's something I love to do. I play piano,
Ah,
guitar, so I'll do those a lot. Now that I'm home more, I actually get to do a lot of that more. So
now you've also collaborated with some other folks. Tell us about that.
um, I mean, I used to be Brian's studio drummer for years, and I've got to play on tracks for like Adele and
Wow.
Kelly Clarkson. Um, yeah, a few Chris Cornell solo albums.
Right.
A lot of stuff. Did one for the Backstreet Boys years ago. I think I did one for who else? Who else? But yeah, I've collaborated with a few people. We've done obviously Timbaland and then Logic. Logic's a great guy. Um, let's see. We have a collaboration with Ti, Secrets that'll probably never come out, but uh,
Wow.
hip hop verse, the rap verse, hip hop verse, but you know what I mean, rap verse on Secrets years ago, and it just never came to fruition, and it wasn't released. So we have that somewhere in old.
That is awesome. How did the Adele track, and what kind of song was that, or was there more than one Adele song?
A couple tracks. I mean, we've done. And sometimes, do a track, and sometimes it's not even your track. So, but we did. What was it? I don't know if I did "Rolling in the Deep," and then I did. It actually, we have a funny. My buddy Al Cardi, who plays bass for Rob Thomas and Alicia Keys. I love that guy. He's my dude. We did Adele in New York, Germano Studio. I can't think, but I guess the track and didn't get turned in time, so it was the orchestral version. But it's that was, I mean, it was a beautiful thing. I love Adele. She's such a sweetheart. She's really the nicest person ever. Um, I I think collaborating with people is always a fun experience. It takes away from like me or Ryan or Brent in the same room with the four guys. Um, Granted, we love each other. We're family. We play, together.
Mm-hmm.
Love each other. It's just one big happy family. So, but like if you get that break and you get to collaborate with other people and other styles of music, it always makes it fun too.
Absolutely, yeah. It makes maybe what you do with your main act might be refreshing when you come back to it. You've got a new perspective. You've learned some new skills, and then that's how does the writing process work in One Republic? Are you involved in that at all?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of time. Like we recorded like the second album and the third and the fourth actually in Denver, uh, predominantly. I mean, we record all over the world, but we collaborate together. We're constantly with each other, and with each other. Like I do a lot of song starts downstairs. I send them to Brent and Ryan and Drew and Zach. And, they dig it. They move on it. I have a song that Ryan and Brent really like a lot. I don't know the name of it because it's changed because Ryan writes the lyrics. But it's supposed to top of the year, I think. So, no, we're gonna take three of our favorite songs, and send them to the marketing team, and see
Yep.
which one is strongest. Putting out music these days is so different from back in the day.
That it is, and it literally changes. It seems, every 6 months and every year something has changed. We were at Walmart, and I was on guitar, or do you write on piano, or is it a combo
No
of?
way.
Sorry, we were cut off there.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Sorry, do you write on piano or guitar, or is it a combo of both?
Um, yeah, most of the time um, downstairs I have a little MIDI keyboard. I'll do some synth stuff, and then I work with a beat. And sometimes I'll take the beat and erase that idea, and vice versa. Sometimes I'll take the beat and record that, and tracks and percussions or shakers, tambourine, claps, and put that in and like try and write something cool. Or I can't come up with anything, so I'll send it to Brent. Brent's really good at taking my stuff and whipping something up nice. So.
That's awesome. So do you understand how chord progressions and things work? If you were to, can you play piano like decently, well enough to write?
Consider myself at all a piano player or a guitar player. I know where, yeah, I know the chords. I know the chord. There's some that I sit here and I'll do, a D to a B minor, and you're like, oh, geez, why does that sound? Break it down to like a G to a B minor or something like that, make it sound cooler. I don't know, but I don't have the smarts with that. Brent is really good. He's classically. He can pick up any stringed instrument and play it. Yeah, so.
That's awesome. My son's like that too. And at 20 years old, they can play. Player Dad, and he'll play something on a banjo. He'll play the beginning of a Rush tune on a banjo. I'm like, have you ever done that? No, but it's pretty cool, right? That is phenomenal. Do you recommend that drummers learn another instrument and learn to write?
Absolutely. I mean, I have my 6-year-old piano lessons. He wants to play drums, and I said, "That's great. We'll play drums as soon as you play your, do 15 minutes of piano." And he's, I'm like, "Trust me, you'll thank me when you're older."
Yes, when you can get some kind of writing credit and have some residual, and it's another outlet as well, and that's awesome. All our kids play an instrument to some degree. How long have you been part of the Gretsch family? And I know how it came about. We talked about that. What does it mean to you to be part of such an iconic brand?
I mean, when you have legends like Caliuta, who just joined, Steve Ferroni, uh, some of these great iconic drummers, and you have Sheila E. at the time, Art Schulman, who plays for Pink.
Yeah.
Whole big family of drummers. I, geez, to be a part of that and have the support and even just the respect that they've given me, love and respect is goes a long way. I don't feel like a small fish in a big pond.
Mm.
I feel like a part of Steve Ferroni. We stuff together. He grabbed my head and gave me a noogie and just, wrestled with me like I was his little brother. We, British man, great dude. So, I mean, and just the people that work for Gretsch. So I love and Brent Barnett and those just the coolest dudes. Brent moved on to DW, but of course DW bought Gretsch. So it's a big happy family.
It is a big family, and it does feel like you matter. Even I play in a tribute act mainly, and we play all over the world, and yet I feel like I'm part of the family. And here I am, able to speak with someone who's like you, who plays to arenas all over the world. Many, many, many people. I still get respect from Fred and Dinah, and from Paul Cooper and Josh Safer and Andrew Shreve and all of the gang there. They're absolutely wonderful. I had Mr. Fred Gretsch on the show 2 weeks ago, and that was a real trip. And you can watch the episode. It's on my Instagram. And it's really amazing going through the offices that they have in Savannah, Georgia. And it's an honor, to just to be friends with them kind of as well. So it's wonderful. What does the future hold for Eddie Fisher, and what is happening? What's coming down the pike for One Republic?
We are. Let's see. The future with me, I'm still staying strong. Staying healthy, working, perfecting my craft. I want to come out of this pandemic a better person, better human, better father, better husband, better drummer, better musician. Just a better all around thing. I want to be. Yeah, I don't. Because there's days, I think everybody has them where you're just like, this is like Groundhog's Day. What is going on with my life? So that's kind of my key focus. But we have an album. We're not single, like I said, top of the year, and then album in March. Um, and yes, I'm allowed to say that. Um, so yeah, those are the things that we're doing, and then hopefully back to normal, whatever normal is going to be for us. You know, we can get back to normality, or whatever normalcy, and just start playing shows and entertaining and inspiring people, and motivating people, and just doing what we do. You know, doing what we love, and that's our identity. And that's
Yeah,
what we
so many of us miss it. And do you speak with all of the members of the band like fairly frequently? Yeah.
Now, there's weeks where we go silent, but that's just life. It happens, you know. For the most part, yeah, we talk all the time. Like we text all day, every day. So
Yeah.
send each other funny memes, stupid, like look at this thing in the news, or you know, take a look at this picture, or we'll send old photos of where we were in like '99, you know, whatever, 2009 and 2010. Look at when we played this show. So yeah, we're more in the reminiscent phase. Like, oh, remember that? We got to get back to that. Let's write the greatest album, just blow people's minds. So
That's great
we're
attitude.
excited.
Yeah, and that's great. That's very smart. You need to come out of this whole situation with some new skills and to be better at it rather than just being apathetic about it. So there's a couple questions here. Perhaps what other songs are there that you got to sing on and play drums besides Counting Stars?
Oh man, you know what's funny is I'm half deaf in my right ear, so this is what I do. So I am I couldn't sing to save my life. Um, so there's none. I'm completely tongue. Yeah, I can't sing to save my life. There's you know Brian, funny band joke is like everybody's like, okay, we're gonna do gang vocals. I'm like, guess you guys know you don't want me to sing this. They're like, oh, we're gonna try it. And then we do a couple takes, and sometimes it's like, oh, that's cool, right on. There's a guy a little flat. Yeah, that's me. We'll take that. We'll keep it. And sometimes it's like, ooh, that's no, you got to get out. So yeah, for the most part, I don't sing. I can't.
Well, you've got enough going on, and let me tell you, it's not easy, you know, driving the bus and, you know, with everything synced up and the show is synced up, it is with video and lights and, you know, do you hear, this is something that happens with the show that I play in, sometimes the audience is so loud that it's very hard to hear what's going on with the click. That's probably why you have it at 11 on in your ears. It's pretty crazy. Do you hear much of the crowd?
Uh, we have ambient mic set, you know, facing the crowd. I have them turned kind of kind of down low. Like I like the ambience. I like to be able to hear the crowd. Um, so that's great for me. Sometimes it's even so loud in my ears. I'm like, I got my back up, you know. So
It's pretty
yeah,
wild.
I mean, it's funny. Like in Europe, north you go, the louder the crowds get. I don't know what it is.
Wow. Somebody wrote here, what was it like meeting Phil Collins? I didn't know that. Did you meet Phil?
You got to Phil Collins. He came backstage, met his kid, Manny, and
Wow.
Phil is such a nice guy. He told us some crazy stories. Keep in touch every once in a while. You know, he's going through some stuff now, but you know,
Yeah.
he's a great dude, and one guy that I idolize. You know, especially in the '80s, for him to be a drummer and then do a solo album, go solo. That's great. That's incredible.
Phil is an absolute drum hero. I had Dave Anania on, and he plays with the Blue Man Group in Berlin. And Phil went to their show. I think it was in the late '90s. It might have been when he was in New York, and he met Phil, and they talked after the show, and he gave Phil his card saying, "I know you have Chester in your band, but just in case, but I'm a Phil lover as well." You know, that would have been an amazing experience meeting Phil. I think I would have cried.
I was pretty floored by it. I mean, of course I did a picture with him, and that's one of my like, look, I know Phil Collins. I love that guy.
And that's crazy that you keep in touch with Phil. You know, I don't have Phil on my cell. You know, I just scroll through. No, he's not in there. You know, I'm just bugging you. But that's awesome. Hey, man. I mean, I'm super and was very excited that I messaged you out of the blue. You did not know me from Adam, and I appreciate first of all that you replied and agreed. It does help that I am also a Gretsch artist as well, but have loved doing this show and meeting all of the drummers across the world. It's been absolutely wonderful for me and to see the show because I've become a fan over the last couple of weeks, getting to know what the band, what more of what the band is. Our kids, I would hear they would play it. They're in their 20s, and I'm going, oh. And then of course watching videos of you, I'm like, this dude can play.
Thank
Same as your age, but I want to thank you so much for spending the time and appreciate everybody else
you.
tuning in here. I know we've had some wonky signal.
It's whatever. It is what it is. It's 2020. I mean, does it shock you at this point?
Really, nothing does. No, you're right. It's been quite a year, and we are kind of hoping to turn a new page.
Guys, thank you. Thank you, Neil.
Take care. Bye, Eddie.